Kevin light us out already, cause here one non-stop fire. Road.
Road block. Road block. Road block.
Former President Donald Trump's dominant victory in the Iowa caucuses on Monday showed just how much the party has coalesced around him in the last 8 years, and which voters are still resisting that realignment. The former president improved on his margins all across the state compared to the 2016 caucuses, winning all but one of Iowa's counties and 87% of the state's 1,657 precincts. He finished more than 30 points ahead of his closest rivals, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis and former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley. But his takeover of the GOP electorate was not complete. Nearly half of voters, 49%, backed another candidate on Monday. And Trump's performance was not consistently strong in all areas. Donald Trump may win more black votes than any other Republican presidential candidate in history in the upcoming presidential election. According to national and swing state polls reviewed by Bloomberg, the former president and GOP frontrunner has between 14% and 30% of the black vote share as the country heads into an election year. This is far beyond the 8% of the black vote the Pew Research Center said the Republican won in the 2020 presidential election and more than any Republican candidate before him. The NAACP estimated that 5 million African Americans voted in the 1960 presidential election when Richard Nixon won 32% of the black vote, according to the news. Since then, the black population has increased from around 10.83% or 19,418,190 people, an analysis of census data, to 13.6% of the overall population or 46,936,733 people. The black voting turnout has slightly increased in presidential elections from 58.5% of the eligible voting population in 1964, the earliest election for which such figures are available, to 58.7% in 2020, according to Statista. This means if Trump wins more than 13% of the vote share, he will gain the highest proportion of the black vote since Nixon in 1960 and more individual black votes. Trump needs to negotiate with the black community before receiving the people's vote. A change is needed, especially overseas places President Trump visited while in office. We have not yet to see Biden in those places. This is We Rebuilding We TV channel. Stay tuned for more top stories sponsored by Grandson and Company, Ambition. Top story: Memphis rapper Yo Gotti's brother Anthony Big Juke Mims was killed in a shooting Saturday, Memphis Police Department confirmed Sunday. According to an MPD Facebook post, an officer was in the area of 6385 Winchester Road around 4:15 p.m. Saturday when he heard multiple gunshots. The officer went to the location and found two victims with multiple gunshot wounds, both of whom were transported to the hospital. Mims, 47, was identified as the victim who was pronounced deceased at the hospital. The second male victim was in stable condition Sunday, police said. During a press conference Saturday evening, Deputy Chief Paul Wright said police were analyzing video but did not have a suspect identified at that time. He said it was also not clear if there were multiple shooters. We do feel like the individual that was shot was possibly targeted by the suspect, Wright said. He said the two men who were shot had been attending a repast following a funeral service. On Sunday, police said a witness on the scene said suspects in a white SUV were responsible for the shooting. The vehicle is a white Ford Explorer with black wheels and dark tinted windows, and images of it were captured on surveillance video. No arrests have been made, and the investigation is ongoing. More update, next by We Rebuilding We TV channel. Stay tuned. Young Dolph's signing of a promising artist led to betrayal and ultimately resulted in his death, highlighting the dangerous consequences of street beef and gang retaliation. Young Dolph survived a shooting incident where his vehicle was shot at roughly 100 times, showcasing the intensity of the attack. The murder of rapper Young Dolph in Memphis has led to a chaotic and violent war between rival gangs, with suspects being killed and others fleeing the city, and there are suspicions of a possible connection between Dolph's label and a rival gang. The death of Justin Taylor, who was attacked instead of the actual shooters, suggests that eliminating him was more valuable than catching the actual killer, raising questions about the motives and connections involved in Young Dolph's death. The connection between the shootings in the same neighborhood suggests a possible revenge motive related to Young Dolph's death, involving a group named Double R. An innocent man tragically lost his life in the brutal shooting, highlighting the devastating consequences of such violence. A Facebook exchange after Young Dolph's death suggests a potential connection between the suspects and the tragic deaths of J Money Trilla and his brother, adding another layer of intrigue to the case. Young Dolph's signing of a promising artist led to betrayal and ultimately resulted in his death, highlighting the dangerous consequences of street beef and gang retaliation. Young Dolph survived a shooting incident where his vehicle was shot at roughly 100 times, showcasing the intensity of the attack. Gang involvement and connections. The suspects in Young Dolph's murder have all been killed, highlighting the violent and deadly nature of the situation. The case of Young Dolph's death involves multiple individuals, some charged directly with the killing, others as accessories, and one believed to be the mastermind behind the killing. Young Dolph's killing was not the work of individual shooters, but rather a sophisticated organization, highlighting the involvement of a Memphis gang called True La Mafia. The suspects involved in Young Dolph's murder are believed to be members of the Trilla Mafia gang, highlighting the potential gang affiliations behind the crime. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure you like, comment, and share. Peace.